break down.
I love how he actually is explaining this, but he's not explaining. Well, like he sort of does explain why he's doing something, but it's just like an instinct to him. It's a legitimate, just something that he knows in his mind and his heart.
Possible to help.
What is going on, guys? It is JJ here, back with a new video, and today we are finally back for the first time ever with the NICO ROSBERG How to Master the Bahrain GP video. Now, obviously, we are 3 days away from the first race of the F1 2022 season. I'm still beyond excited. I think we gotta watch a hype video. What video gets you guys like the most hyped for the Bahrain GP? Let me know it down in the comments below and I'll be sure to give it a look. But today we're gonna take a look at NICO ROSBERG as a former champion of the F1 grid, and I feel like every time we watch a circuit guide video, it is always his lap times that are setting the mark, the pole laps. But we're going to take a look at how he masters the Bahrain GP, how he sort of goes through it, essentially diving into the mind of an F1 driver, which A, will only help me learn more, and B, is absolutely awesome. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and let's get into the video. As well, guys, you can find the original video on the NICO ROSBERG YouTube channel down in the description below.
And today we're going to Bahrain. Brake balance, again, 1 or 2 clicks you're able to hear because there's so much steer going on. Now, what Lewis does very smartly.
Oh, why does it do this? Every time I'm on this, every time I'm on my laptop, YouTube does this. Hate to see that. Hate to see that.
He, without me seeing where he is, the secret is, first of all, it's just so essential for being fast.
Oh, is that just a wrap up of all the stuff in one? I thought he was just jumping into it.
Welcome back to F1 Fridays, and today we're going to Bahrain, a track that means a lot to me. I had some of my most special races there. 2006, my first race, coming from last after a crash, fighting through all the way to 7th, which was really my breakthrough into F1. It was a special moment, and it was one of those few moments where I can really say that I had this tunnel vision flow whilst being in a race car. Like just 100% perfection focused. A bit like, I don't want to compare myself, but a bit like what Senna used to talk about when he did the qualifying laps in Monaco. And it happened maybe 3 or 4 times.
I wish I had that type of tunnel vision perfection just doing everyday things. I wish I could get that level. I wish I could get to that level.
And my first ever race in F1 in Bahrain, it happened, and it was just the most amazing feeling. And probably it happened because after crashing in turn 1, I was last. So you have nothing to lose, only you can gain. So there's no fear of losing or anything. It's just pure.
I mean, you could hurt yourself. That's a fear.
Most amazing thing, and it's just this feeling where nobody could ever do any kind of small moment better than me in this moment in time with this car. And in fact, I think I had like the 12 fastest laps of the race, combined everything, fastest lap of the race. So it was a big breakthrough for me. Another one was 2014, where probably it was my fiercest battle I ever had in Formula 1. It was the wheel-to-wheel racing with Lewis, which I'm going to go through in this video later on. I'm going to explain a little bit what you need to do here to win such a battle on a Bahrain track, which is going to be very relevant for the next couple of races here in Bahrain in Formula 1.
Does he do this for the F1 gamers or what?
Won the race here, which is a very special moment. And as always, also in this video, you have the chance to win something, a surprise giveaway from me, which I'm going to send to you if you get the top comment in this video. And the question this weekend is, what for you is the most memorable F1 race of all?
This is what sucks about being new to F1. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I cannot tell you.
Why? So
I have no clue.
Good luck with getting the top comment, and now we're going to jump straight into the lap analysis. All right, now we jump into the lap analysis. So to start the lap, of course, stay wide to get a mega run out faster than usual on the exit. So you carry more speed already going onto the straight and then down the straight. That's crucial, hitting DRS point in the right place. Okay, now on the straight, staying there where there's the least bumps. Usually it's about there here in Bahrain. Okay, now coming down to turn 1. Just stay maximum left, of course, and brake at 120, 120, full brake, down.
I love how he actually is explaining this, but he's not explaining, well, like he sort of does explain why he's doing something, but it's just like an instinct to him. It's a legitimate, just something that he knows in his mind and his heart.
As possible to help with the rear braking, with the engine braking, to help stop the car. Downshift all the way to 2nd gear here. Late entry, because on the exit, you got to stay middle of the track because the next part has to be flat. That's an obligation, otherwise you lose too much time on the straight. So not quite to the edge there. Come back a little bit, upshift early, and so that you have one gear through here, maybe even fourth gear upshift early. So you're one gear through here, flat out, of course, use the maximum curb on the outside there, then straight line it as much as possible.
Oh, I love
Okay,
this.
now we come down here.
I absolutely
brake
love
balance
this.
one click rearwards because you're steering a lot in braking, in the late braking here, compared to the turn one where you just straight all the way. So brake balance one click rearwards because you're going to lock front more here. So 0.5% rearwards. You brake it around 80 meters here, and then you go for quite an early entry to get to that apex, otherwise you'll never get there. And because the exit is very, very wide and you can afford to go extremely wide, you just touch the curb there, and here on the exit you go very, very wide. You go around, this is the perfect spot to be. Of course, keep touching that white line. Perfect spot is here. And then
Why? Okay, but hear me out. Why? Why? Like, he doesn't explain. I gotta stop asking why and just kind of enjoying his brain moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute. He's just dialed in with this explanation. It's so
Start
sick.
going onto that curb. Now come back a little bit, because to get into this corner you need to position yourself left as much as possible. So you go left here
But
to get a
like,
wide entry.
see, that's what I'm saying.
And
Like,
here
just
you have
not
sixth
knowing
gear.
enough
You
about
could
cars,
stay in
I have
sixth
no clue.
Or downshift once to fifth, which will help you get that front end in because it blocks the rear
There's
up
so
a little
many
bit,
details.
sets the rear out a little bit. It helps you bring that front end in. So that hooks you up well, and then exit straight away back into sixth, and then on the power, small lift here in the second part just to get round sweetly, and then now very important, get back to the left straight away because you need to be as straight as possible on the outside to get a good braking done. So before you brake, you've got to be on the left there, get a clean straight braking. Very difficult here because downhill. So that rearward brake balance is still
Which also, I didn't even realize there was any elevation on this course.
Here. And it's just then a very standard corner. I mean, downhill, difficult to stop the car. Second gear, and then when you're going on power, very early upshift again to help you stabilize the rear so you get a better traction out. And then now up the hill
1,000,000
here.
miles a
Don't
minute,
touch
the
the
man
apex
is just
here.
going.
Stay in the middle of the track so as to have a wider entry for the eventual hairpin there. Brake balance, again, 1 or 2 clicks rearwards here because you're so much steer going on, so the car is like leaning over, and so on the inside front it's very unloaded, so you're going to be locking the front a lot because of this leaning over. So again, brake balance even more rearwards for this corner here. Okay, downshift, second gear, steer the car, and straight away upshift, early upshift, and then straight away on the power. And here it's interesting, you need to straight line the car as much as possible in this first part for the traction, so you keep going along the curb, even though it's a bit unnatural, keep going along the curb, straight line as much as possible, and then turn in the very end when you're not traction limited anymore to get that straight line as much as possible going. So here now, very difficult corner this is, my goodness. So very late braking, you brake at 70 meters, downshift into fourth gear. Quite an early apex to carry the speed in, go deep. But man, it's so easy to run out of track on the exit, and you just have to go by memory and remember how much you can afford to push on the exit, and then use the curb, but don't
See,
go
but
over
that's
the
what I'm
curb.
saying is that like those instincts are just built in like your brain. They aren't even like a second nature thought to me. Like I'm just going with the vibe. I'd be off the track on this corner if I'm in a car that's going this fast. Like that's the point. I love that he's using the F1 game to sort of explain it as well because it's the perfect way to explain
You run
it.
off the track, use the curb ever so slightly, and get that power down as quickly as you can, and upshift again. This corner here is easy flat. But again here, positioning now on the exit is important. Stay left, stay left, stay left, stay left, stay straight, and then in very end, braking again, downshifting to fourth gear, very end you turn, and brake a little bit earlier so not to run off the road. Brake a little bit earlier, just carry the speed through here. So don't overwork the front tires and braking. Braking a little bit earlier, softer, and then carrying the speed through, because that's how the lap time is done, by more speed through. Fourth gear, touch the apex curb there a little bit, and then run wide maximum all the way to keeping the right tire still in the white line, but use the maximum track to just not run off the track there. Next corner is also long straight line braking, so here you can afford to go back forwards all the way on the brake balance, because straight line braking means you have much more potential in the front end, so forwards on brake balance again, because you can brake very, very deep here and a long time in the straight line before turning in at the very end. Brake right after the 100 meter board at 80, third gear, just touch the curb there. It's a big curb, so you can't take it. You just need to touch it. And the exit again, so easy to run out of road. So you just got to be careful. And then
oh my goodness!
Run all along the white line. Don't touch the curb because that's going to run you off the track because there's less grip on the curb, and you need maximum grips to stay on the tarmac. And then upshift cleanly, and that's the end of the lap. Okay, that's the end of the lap analysis. Now we're going to jump into the hot lap, and after that, I'm going to take you through a wheel-to-wheel battle here in Bahrain through the first couple of corners, what you have to do.
Let's do it. Let's hot lap it. Literally put all of the stuff that he just put together into one thing. That's exactly what he said. He said, "You don't want to curve this." Oh,
awesome! Awesome,
bro. This F1 game must be sick because it looks like such a realistic transition to it, and his mind is so dialed in. Exactly like he said, off the white line. Bro, what? That corner, it must be unreal. Oh, he's not gonna get his best lap.
Time in that last corner.
Oh.
Okay, let's.
Okay, that's so sick. That is so sick.
Here in Bahrain. So turn one, of course, it's very difficult to follow because you still get this. You're in the slipstream, so you have a lot of understeer through the corner because you have less downforce. So you just have to do the best and get as close as possible here. Then, of course, stick in the gearbox. Be very careful to follow exactly where the front guy is cutting through the air. Hit the DRS in the right moment. So now the front guy is probably going to pull to the right, but ideally you do need to try and pull to the right and overtake on the right hand side. And I'm going to do that because of the example with Lewis that I mentioned to before, which we're going to use in this case. So I do.
Listen. I loved hearing NICO ROSBERG's story. Obviously, the battle between him and Lewis was one of the greatest of the 2010s in terms of F1. And I'm kind of excited to hear his mindset with Lewis because Lewis, guys, let's face it, is the pinnacle. Like, in terms of new cars, in terms of how F1 is run these days, battling with Lewis Hamilton is about as good as it gets. And I feel like that it's going to be a good explanation from him in terms of actually explaining.
Now, what Lewis does very smartly is that he...
That's what I mean.
Me
the respect is there.
That means I can't afford to go left because I don't know if he might still be right next to me. He very smartly, just before braking, goes all the way to the left on the edge of the track, whilst I'm very compromised with my braking because I'm on the dirty side and very much like not even middle of track. I'm still very far on the inside here. So he's like really having a great entry to the next corner. So I brake late, so I'm ahead here. Now, I have a much tighter entry here, and I've also come off the dirty part of the track, so it makes it more difficult. So anyway, carry the speed through here. I go much further left here. He has a much easier run through and can stay much further on the right here, which makes it really easy for the next corner, which for him is going to be almost flat, even though it's still less downforce for him because he's stuck in my gearbox. But for me, coming from here, it's going to be very difficult to, and I'm going to have to lift quite a lot through here. So then coming out of here, Lewis, or the guy behind in this case, will be stuck in the gearbox. So here again then, you need to defend obviously, so you go all the way to the line to defend, and then the guy behind, or Lewis, will go to the outside. And then here, brake very late, but again, you're braking and defending, so you're in the dirty side of the track.
Here's the thing that he really does do this by second nature, and it's so obvious because in his mind, this is his life. Like, this is his work. This is the things that he's good at. Every little bit of this. But I don't even understand how you're defending him off. I don't get how you're entirely focused on A, setting fast lap times, and B, at the same time holding the car behind you that is the same car technically off from passing you, while essentially not trying to compete your best lap. Like, he's not trying to run away from the field, he's trying to defend his position. I don't understand how they do that. I don't get it.
But still, the exit it's so wide, you know, and so long, so it's a tough exit since you're coming in so tight. So you come in second, third, and then try and go and throttle as much as possible. And Lewis here, super smart, brake massively late on the outside, waited, and then
those Mercedes are so beautiful.
Through the inside now on the exit and put the power down and got a great run out from the corner, which I never expected. So I'm taking a run now on suddenly he pops up in the inside here. I'm like, oh my goodness, because then you're on the inside for the next corner. So then he had just enough car, like half a car's width here on the inside, which is just enough for me to not be able to commit round the outside because he's going to be there. So I have to back off here. He brakes massively late because he's not sure if I'm going to back off because he's just only on the edge of being enough there. So then he brakes massively late, like shoots straight on, locks front up. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I still got a chance here. So he's like out on the outside here. Now I make sure I get a good run out of here. Come out of here.
It's hard to explain when there's not a second car there to show
now. So he
people.
blocks the inside. I obviously try and get the best run on the outside here, but still on the exit, as long as he stops the car properly on the inside here and then turns, like staying on the inside turns, it doesn't allow me to cut across on the inside and go through because he's still there. And then he gets a good exit, and then the straight now on the exit is pretty short, and the next corner is left again. So being on the outside here is not so great. So he's able to defend through here, and then by this time now he can use all the track also and get a good run through this corner, and then manage to get all the way to the next corner still being first. So he just did a fantastic job with defending there, but that's a little bit the intricacies of what you have to do to manage to get your position here and to manage to overtake. So it's really, there's going to be such great battles, I think, in Bahrain to look forward to. And now we're going to jump into Q&A session where I answer your questions.
Okay.
Question 1.
Okay, we'll do a little bit of the Q&A session. I didn't realize that he had an entire Q&A at the end of his videos where he just answers people's comments and questions, stuff like that, but you know what, that's fair. Honestly, that's the beauty of a video like this, is actually diving into the mind of an F1 driver and sort of learning everything that he thinks, A, about the course, B, getting to actually hear his thoughts and his mindset behind overtaking in Bahrain, which will obviously be crucial in 2022, because they say the new F1 cars are legitimately meant for keeping competition close and overtaking, so it should be fun. But yeah, let's get into his Q&A session.
From Snowby, what is your most memorable moment of Bahrain GP and why? That would be my win in 2016, because it was my championship year. I was taking the lead in the championship. It was a great win, so I'll go for that one. Question 2, the Joker. What's the secret about turn 9 and 10, and why is it so difficult to master that part of the track? The secret is, first of all, brake balance rearwards, just so essential for being fast. So brake balance 2% at least rearwards, because you're just so laterally loaded, so you're like so leaning outwards that you just lock the front inside so much because it's unloaded.
I don't understand a single thing he's saying.
Take it easy with the braking in the first part, brake a little bit harder in the very last moment because it's the last moment where you're a little bit straighter, and then there's not much of a secret. It's pretty standard from then. It's just all the braking.
Bro, you're saying not much of a secret. I don't get it. I don't understand how you were even discussing this, because bro, I don't understand F1 intricacies. That's the best way to explain it. I love looking at these types of videos, guys. Please don't kill me in the comments, but him going in detail like this, way over my head, way over my head.
The rest is fine and easy. You just got to hit that apex and get on the power early, and that's it. Question 3, Fadlan Hafusa. How different is it to race in Bahrain?
Ooh, this I do want to know.
In terms of race, tire warming, and everything else. It's a huge difference because, and that's the challenge on a Bahrain race weekend, that you do some of the practice in the daytime, and then you do qualifying and race in twilight, and it's just a completely different world because the temperatures are so much colder. So in the daytime, a lot more rear overheating, a lot more oversteer, and that's the biggest difference, just temperatures on the rear end, because then you get to the nighttime, the rear has a lot more capacity, a lot less overheating, a lot less oversteer.
So you can get more out of the tires.
To take away some of that understeer that you'll then have at nighttime. Usually you do that with the front bar. You go 2 steps softer on the front bar. That gives more mechanical grip on the front, less understeer, but makes it more difficult for the rear traction, and that's the best setup compromise. Question 4, Paco Samson. With some very experienced drivers spinning out during the Turkish Grand Prix, can you explain to us just how difficult the conditions in Turkey were? Turkey was just the most difficult conditions of all time.
Okay, he's no longer on the Bahrain GP. I can't let him spoil the Turkish GP for me, if there is going to be a Turkish GP this year. We'll see about that. But anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts on the NICO ROSBERG, how to master the Bahrain GP. Let me know what videos you guys want to see before we get into the Bahrain weekend. We will be probably streaming qualifying on Saturday. And then maybe just for like an hour or 2 or so. And then obviously the watch along for the Bahrain GP on Sunday morning. It'll be Sunday morning for me. We'll probably be on an hour before the race, just kind of chilling and sort of sticking around. But obviously F1 will not let me show the footage for the race, so that's going to be a little bit difficult. It'll be more of a watch along. I'll obviously have the race at full volume so you guys can hear and see where I'm at. Some of you probably have a better streaming service than me, so you'll be like 10, 20 seconds ahead in the race than where I will be. It'll be very interesting to see in general, but I think it's going to be a really good time. Yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace.